Today's recipe is for a vanilla cream-filled pumpkin roll. This was a way for me to use up just a little bit of extra pumpkin puree that I had left over. For the ingredients, you'll need 3 eggs, 1 cup sugar, 2 teaspoons vanilla, 2/3 cup pumpkin puree, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 2 teaspoons pumpkin pie spice, 4 tablespoons butter softened, 8 ounces cream cheese softened, and 1 cup of powdered sugar. So to get started, you're going to crack your eggs and whisk them very well until they are fully combined, the yolks and the whites. Next, you'll be adding your sugar. So here's 1 cup of white sugar. Again, using my whisk, getting some of that sugar to dissolve a little bit. It'll still be grainy, but do your best to mix it in. And then add your pumpkin. So here was just what was left over. It was about 2/3 a cup, so that worked well for this recipe. Beat it well to combine. Add in 1 teaspoon of your vanilla. The other teaspoon will be for the filling. And your 3/4 cup of flour. Now this batter is going to be sort of runny, a little closer to like a pancake batter when you're done. The final ingredients are then some salt, 1/2 teaspoon. Here's your 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Mix well to distribute those. And here again, you can see the thickness of what it will be. This is just a regular cookie sheet that has lips on the side or rims. You're going to take a stick of butter and just grease the whole thing. Then you're going to take parchment paper, and the parchment paper is going to act both as a barrier for non-stick and also as a vehicle to help you with the roll itself. So make sure it's bigger than the piece or bigger than the pan, and that sticks out over the side. Dump your batter in and then spread it out gently across as evenly as you can. Then you're going to bake this in a 375-degree oven for about 15 minutes. A toothpick should come out clean. Just before you're about to take your cake out, go ahead and you're going to dust yourself a kitchen towel. And I have this little fancy duster where you just pull together the 2 pieces and it turns into a scoop, and then when it retracts back, there's a little bit of a shaker on it. So I like using this for dusting things with flour or dusting with powdered sugar to help evenly distribute. So if you don't have one of these, I think it was like $6 maybe, or $5 on Amazon. But take your powdered sugar and dust well across the whole towel. Then you're going to take your cake out, hot right out of the oven. Do not let it cool first. You're going to put your pan right up next to that towel and use that parchment paper to go 1, 2, 3, flip, and flip it flat onto the towel. Now make sure it's laying down flat. It's going to be very hot, so be gentle here. And you're going to roll it in the towel. This is going to help the cake take that shape when you're done and not to crack. So go ahead and roll it all the way up. And then we have to let this sit for about 2 hours at room temperature so that it can fully cool. Right before you're thinking it's fully cool, around that 2 hours, you're going to cream your 4 tablespoons of butter and your 8 ounces of cream cheese together. And don't skip the time on this step. I would beat this for a solid 2 to 3 minutes. You want it to be very light and fluffy and well mixed together. It should sort of lighten a little bit as well in color. So give this a really good beat on medium speed with a hand mixer. Then the next step is going to be to add in your powdered sugar, about 1 cup. Then again, beat well. And your final ingredient is going to be to add that last teaspoon of vanilla. This is what makes that vanilla cream for the center. This should have a very creamy consistency, like a frosting. Now that your cake is cooled down, you're going to need to unroll it so that you can put the cream in the middle. So just very gently unroll it and gently peel that parchment paper off the top so you'll have a thin layer of cake. Then take your cream and spread it evenly over the entire roll. And I sort of avoided the very edges because I like to cut the very edges off just to make for a nice presentation. So I try to focus it mostly in the middle. Then gently roll it up, peeling it off of that towel. And then you'll want to wrap it in either like press and seal wrap or just regular cling wrap, which is what I'm using here. I'm going to wrap it in 2 layers to make sure it's fully wrapped and tight. And then that's going to go in the refrigerator to set for about 2 hours. Once your cake has set, you're ready to get it out and cut it and set up for presentation. You'll want to be very gentle because the cake will be very moist having been in this wrap. So gently roll it out. And then, as I mentioned before, I always like to make the presentation pretty. And so I got a little more powdered sugar in my little duster and just giving a nice coating on the top there and cutting off the very end to make for a nice looking presentation on the side. And then cutting this into some nice thick pieces. This was absolutely delicious. I highly recommend for anyone who loves pumpkin this time of year. So I hope you give this one a try and enjoy it as much as I did. Take care. Bye.